Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a first impressions on a palette and some lipsticks that were sent to me from a brand that I had never heard of before. It is called Focallure. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So they did allow me to select some items from their website, and they had some really pretty eyeshadow palettes. So the one that I chose is called Sweet as Honey. This one right here. So these products are made in China, but I believe they are designed in California from what I recall. So in this palette you get 18 shadows and it's part of their Sweet as Honey collection. Again, this is made in China. It is cruelty free and it has all the ingredients on the back of the Unicart in here. I'm gonna show you the palette in just a second, but they also sent over these lipsticks here. So these are the Focallure Lacquer lipsticks. They were gonna send me some liquid lipsticks, but I wanted to try something that wasn't super matte, so I decided to try these instead. So these are the two that I picked. One says warm coral and the other one is nude peach. So we're gonna take a look at the eyeshadow palette first, but that's the packaging that they come in. Really nice packaging. I think the packaging's cute. So here is the Sweet as Honey palette. So it comes in a cardboard packaging, and again, on the back it has the ingredients and it has a little bit about the palette, just like the Unicart did. So that's nice that it had it on both the Unicart and the actual palette, because sometimes it'll be on the outer packaging but not on the actual palette. I'm liking that the label is on both of the outer packaging and the actual packaging. So anyway, let's open this guy up. So in here you do get a mirror, and I just got to take that little strip off. I have not used this palette. This is a first impressions. There were several different palettes that looked really pretty, but I chose this one because it had neutrals, colorful shades, also mattes and shimmers. I just liked the color scheme in this palette, so that's why I chose this one. So this palette currently says it's $12.99 on their website. Today is March 27th when I'm filming this. I'm not sure when I'll get this video up, hopefully within the next week. It says it's usually $34, but it says cruelty-free and vegan. And it's 30% off, which is why it says $12.99. So let's go ahead and swatch these. And then after I swatch these, I wanna do a little tutorial using this palette so you guys can see how they perform. All right, so the first shade is called Cosmic Latte. It's an off-white matte shade. And all the mattes in this palette actually perform really nicely. They blend well, they have good pigmentation, and they're just soft and smooth to the touch. So I enjoyed the matte shades. This one is called Champagne. It's like a mustardy yellow. And then the third one there is called Deep Peach. It is a peachy matte shade. So those first three are all matte. And then the fourth color is called Misty Rose. So all the shimmers in this palette have a similar formula to the ColourPop Super Shock shadows. So it's just going to depend on preference, whether you like those types of shadow formulas or not, whether you would like this palette. So if you don't like the Super Shock shadow formula, you may not like this palette. I personally would prefer just regular pressed shadows in a palette. I do like the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, but I like those individually. I don't really like to have them in palettes. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. They have like a squishy texture. So the one I'm swatching right now is called Pale Chestnut, and that's like a mauve shade, very pretty. One of my favorites, as well as this next one here called Turkish Rose. So you'll see when I swatch these, I do have to build them up, but that doesn't mean that they don't perform well on the eyes. You will see when I do a little bit of too many tutorials using different shades, how they perform. So that will be after the swatches here. This reddish shade is Cordovan or Cordovan, not sure how to pronounce that. It's also a matte shade. And then the next one is called Desert Sand. It's a nice crease color. It's also a matte shade. Then the purple one here is called Witchcraft. This one, you will see that it doesn't swatch the best, but when I applied it to my eyes, I thought it looked really, really pretty. I did have to build it up with my finger on my eyes, like you will see in the tutorial, but in the end, I thought it looked really, really pretty. So this color doesn't have a lot of base color. It has a lot of micro fine shimmers in it, and I would say they're like blue. It's a really pretty color. Purple is my favorite color. So it wasn't swatching that well with my fingers, so I decided to take a brush. This one is by Zoeva, And then I went into the next shade as well with a brush just to see how that applied on my arm. That color is called Danger. And I did not like the way that applied at all with the brush. So I just, sorry, I can't talk. So I decided to use my finger and it applied better with my finger. But again, these shimmer ones in this particular row, they all have like that microfine shimmer in them. And not a ton of base color when I swatch it on my hand. But they apply nicely like on the eye. I used the dark green one as eyeliner and I thought it applied really good. So this one that I'm swatching here is called Cleopatra. It's kind of like an olivey shade. And then that beautiful blue teal shade is called Trevi Fountain. So because of the formula, you really have to like dig your finger in there to pick up the product. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the nature of the formula. The third row, this color right here, I forgot how to pronounce it. Chamoisy, or no, that's not how you say it. I looked it up and it's not anything that I would have said or pronounced correctly. I can't remember how to pronounce it. I don't think I figured out what the meaning of it is either. That one here is called Pure Copper. So these two shimmers, these three shimmers actually on this third row, they don't have that microfine shimmer like they did in the second row. This one here is called Khaki. This one has good pigmentation, especially when I applied it on the center of my lid in one of the demos. And this fourth color is called Rosy Brown, another beautiful kind of mauvey brown shade, right up my alley. And this one is Hypnotism, and this one has a black base. It looks purple in the pan, but it's really a black base with a lot of microfine purple shimmer in it. I'm not crazy about these colors that like once you start blending them out, they look black. I don't know, they're just not my favorite, but some people may like that. And then the last color in the palette is called Myrtle, and it is a matte black shade. Alright, so here are some close-up swatches. So again, the mattes performed really nice, although they looked, some of them look kind of sheer here, but on the eyes I think they performed just fine. And then you will see those shimmery shades in the second row. They have a lot of microfine shimmers in them, and they're pretty sheer as well. I feel like overall the palette looks pretty sheer when swatched on the arm, but I think some of them applied just fine to the eyes. Now I didn't use every single shade obviously, but I try to use as many as possible in the 2 mini tutorials. So those are all the arm swatches right there. Let's go ahead and get into the lipsticks, and then after I swatch the lipsticks for you, I'm going to show you the 2 mini tutorials. So I wanted to show you guys the lipsticks that I picked out. These are the Focallure Lacquer lipsticks, and I have 2 shades here. So these lipsticks say they give your lips color with ultimate hydration and incredible high shine. It's perfect for anyone with dry lips looking for hydration, color, and shine. So these retail normally for $16 each, but as of right now, they are on sale for $6.09. So let's go ahead and get into the packaging. So overall, I think the packaging is really nice. It's like a shiny black. It's not cheap feeling at all. It feels really nice. It says Focallure in gold. And when you open it up inside, it's gold as well. It has a magnetic closure, which I really like. So the first shade here is 01 Warm Coral. And that is what the lipstick looks like right there. It's funny because the lipstick itself, it looks actually matte. Like if you look at it in the tube, it looks matte. But we shall see. Oh, no, doesn't appear matte at all. Feels like a really nice formula. It glided right on, nice pigmentation. So that is 01 Warm Coral. So the second one here is 02 Nude Peach. So this Nude Peach is more up my alley as far as the color goes. I like this color a lot. This one's just a little warm for me. Like if I were to wear a color like this one, I would wear it probably with a very minimal eye makeup look. So I think they're both pretty, but I just lean more towards the peachy shades. I really like that color a lot, and I can't wait to try these on my lips. So the first color I'm taking is called Pale Chestnut. I'm going to take an Omnia brush. This one is a large crease brush, one of my favorites to run color through the crease. I'm just blending that back and forth. This is a really pretty mauve pink shade. So that performed really nicely in the crease. It blended out really well. I like the color of it. I think it's really pretty. So I'm going to go in with the shade right next to it. It's called Turkish Rose, right over here. This is just called the crease brush. It's a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to pop this on the outer portion and blend it into the crease a little bit just to deepen that up. Yeah, these mattes are performing really nice. You can see that color blended out really, really nice. I think I'm going to throw a little bit of a warm shade in the crease. I'm going to take the Chic Pro crease brush. I'm going to take the shade called Desert Sand. I was going to use this one, but I'm going to take this one. It's a little bit less warm. And I'm just going to kind of blend that right above those pinky colors. And let's take the purple one first. The purple one's called Witchcraft. You can see these almost feel like a ColourPop shadow, to be honest with you, like a Super Shock shadow. You can squish them down. That's exactly what they feel like. So, and the ColourPop ones apply best with your finger. So I'm just gonna pat this on. That color was called Witchcraft, I think I already told you. Yeah, so they apply better, I think, with the finger. We will try it with the brush on the other eye, but I am having to build it up a little bit. And then I'm going to take that shade in Khaki right down here. This one feels a little bit softer and it picks up more product on the finger. So I already got some on my finger. I'm just going to apply a little bit of that in the center of the lid, just to kind of brighten that a little bit. Oh yeah, I like the way that looks. So I'm going to take that purpley shade with the brush. This is a Omnia small shader brush. Gonna pat this on this lid. I think it works better with the finger. So let's go back in with the finger. And I'm sorry I'm using my middle finger. It's just the finger I always choose to use when I apply shadow. Don't know why. Maybe because it's longer. I'm not flipping you off, I promise. I feel like that built up a little bit more than the other side. What do you guys think? I'm gonna go back in with Khaki. I'm gonna take a little bit of that and pop it in the middle. I'm gonna take that brush and I'm just gonna pat a little bit of that purple over here on the outer portions. Go back through the crease a little bit with Turkish Rose, which was that deeper shade I put on the outer corner and through the crease. And I almost feel like using this rosy brown right here. I'm going to take a little bit of that on this brush. This is a small crease brush. Just applying that to the outer corner here. And I don't want to make it too smoky, but I am going to use the black shadow in here to use as eyeliner. So I'm just going to take an angled eyeshadow brush. This one is a Pro Precision eyeliner brush from Beauty Junkies. I like the color scheme. I really like that color. I think it's so pretty. So I want to put some shadows on the lower lash line. I'm just going to take this brush right here. This is a pencil brush and it is from Wet n Wild. And you know what? I'm just gonna take pale chestnut and rosy brown. I don't want to put Turkish rose on the lower lash line because anytime I use like a purpley shade down there, my eyes get irritated the next day. So to prevent that, I'll just skip that shade. And then I'm just gonna take this brush right here and blend the upper edges. And I'm going to take the Cosmic Latte color right here, and I'm going to apply that as my brow bone highlight. I'm using a BDELLIUM Tools 773 shading blender. I'm going to go into Desert Sand, and I'm just going to run that through the crease a little bit. Might take a little bit of that khaki shade and apply it to the inner tear duct. Yeah. This is another pencil brush. This one is from Juno & Co., the ES08. I think this is a $2 brush. All right, so there are the eyes. I really like this eye look a lot. You guys know purple's my favorite color if you've been with me for a while, and I just love mauve tone shadows, so the ones through the crease are like love. So let's go ahead and try it on these lipsticks. I don't know, the peach one might pair fine with this look, but the coral one not so much. We'll try the coral one first. I'm not going to put a lip liner on, but I am going to take off my foundation off my lips. So let's go ahead and try on the coral shade. Whoa, that has amazing pigment. Yeah, that's a really nice formula. Feels creamy, very pigmented. The color is very pretty. It's just not my color. Like, it's not something I would reach for. All right, so this is number 2, Nude Peach. This color I think is gonna be good. That pigment is just so good. I think this lip could pair with this eye. Might do something a little more nude, but I think I'm gonna leave it. I like this color. I'm sorry if you noticed, like, I had some black. I think a little bit of that black shadow because it was a matte and it picked up a lot of product on the brush. It kind of got right here. So if you saw that, I'm sorry it distracted you. So my first impressions of this eyeshadow palette is the mattes perform really nice. They felt smooth when I was swatching them. They had good pigmentation. I think they blended and applied really nicely to the lids. I did not have any issues. Now, as far as the shimmers, the purple one, I felt like had to be built up. Again, these shimmer shades are very similar to like a ColourPop Super Shock shadow where they're squishy. You can leave an indentation in them, and they just feel like they have a like dimethicone, like a lot of dimethicone. So they're not like a traditional powder shadow. They're more of like a cream to powder. But purples are always hard to do. I feel like it's hard to find a good purple. But I was able to make it work. I mean, I built it up with my finger. I think it applied best with my finger. And then the shade Khaki, that one was even more pigmented. That one had really good pigmentation, and I just like the way that look popped in the center of the lid. So far, you know, it's a nice palette. I kind of wish these were more traditional type shimmer shades, more of a powder. But I do want to try this palette again in another look, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Maybe even tomorrow when I get ready for work, I'll try to get up a little bit earlier and do another eye tutorial so that I can include it in this video, just so you guys can see different colors in action. But so far, I'm like digging the eye look. I really like it. What do you guys think? I will definitely let you guys know how they perform. Like, I'm gonna wear this the rest of the day and see if there's any fading or anything like that. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this little tutorial. Stay tuned for the next one. All right, so the first shade I'm going to take is called Champagne. I'm just running that through the crease. It's like a mustard yellow. Then I'm going to go into the shade right next to it. And that shade is called Deep Peach. And I'm just taking a smaller shader brush, not a shader brush, a smaller crease brush, and blending that right over the top. Just going to kind of layer some colors. So I did these two different looks and they did fade a little bit, especially like the shimmer colors on my lid. Not so much the mattes, but the shimmers did fade throughout the day a little bit. So the next color I took was Cordovan. It's like that reddish shade. I'm using this very lightly because it is a red and I don't want it to look too intense. I just wanted to deepen up the crease a little bit and use a shade that I had not used already as far as the mattes go. Then I'm going to take a pure copper, and you will see that this shade does not apply well at all with my finger. It's very sheer, it hardly shows up. So I took a natural haired shader brush and it applies so much better. Like, this is dry with the brush, it just applied so well. This is a natural hair brush, so it definitely would work better than like a synthetic brush in my opinion. It just picks up the product really well when it's a natural hair brush. So you can see it just made a huge difference with the brush versus my finger. So I guess it just depends on the shade. I took that shade right next to pure copper and I applied that right to the middle of my lid with my finger just to brighten up the center of the lid a little bit. And that shade applied just fine with my finger. So I guess it's going to vary shade to shade, but these are very similar in texture to the ColourPop Super Shock shadows. I just took that brush and blended the upper edges of the crease. And then I took that beautiful green called Danger and I applied that as eyeliner. And then I'm going to take the shade in Cosmic Latte and apply that as my brow bone. So my overall thoughts on the palette is that I like the mattes. I think they blend nicely and perform nicely on the eyes. The shimmers, it's just going to vary person to person. Like, if you like ColourPop Super Shock shadows, you may really like this palette. I just prefer when it comes to a palette to have traditional powder shadows. So that's just a preference of mine. I think the color scheme in this palette's really pretty, and the shadows, you know, came out looking just fine, but I did have to switch between a brush and a finger with certain colors. So it's just going to depend on your preference in texture and stuff like that when it comes to your shadows. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.